Yes, it's the day after Christmas. How did it go at your house? Did you have a good time? Did you get any good presents? Did you remember to say thank you to Santa Claus and to your parents? Well, as I promised last week, today is a book that's about 3 wise women. And I thought in the book that it was 3 wise women instead of 3 wise men, but it turns out the 3 wise men make a guest appearance in it. So let's read and find out about what is this book about anyway. 3 Wise Women, written by Mary Hoffman with illustrations by Lynn Russell. And yes, Mary Hoffman is the author of Grace at Christmas that we read a few weeks ago. Lynn, like Mary, is also from England. She lives in London. And here's a self-portrait that she made of herself. In the west, the sky was bright with stars, as a young woman stayed up late baking bread. As she waited for the dough to rise, she went to the door and combed her hair, singing a song about the moonlight. Suddenly, she stopped. Far away in the east, there was a new star, brighter than the rest. It was so bright that it bathed the woman's kitchen in starshine. The beams from the star shone right onto the dough. The woman stared in disbelief. The dough was rising as if filled with starlight. She was afraid to touch it at first, but it was quite firm and ready to be baked. So she cooked it in her oven. As soon as it is ready, she said to herself, I shall take the star bread and travel east. I must find where the great light is coming from. Way down in the south, where countries are hotter, another mother sat up late at night rocking her child. He was cutting a tooth and could not sleep. His mother hummed to him and loved him with words that no one else could understand. Shall Mama get you the moon, sweet baby? She crooned, taking her child out into the night to find a breeze. I could cut you a slice like a piece of mango to cool your poor mouth. The young child stretched his fat little arms up to the moon, and his mother laughed. Then they saw a strange sight. A bright new star rising in the northeast. Starlight shone on the child's face, making him smile. The mother watched in silence. Her heart was filled with desire to leave her village and follow the bright star. Far away in the southeast, an old woman was telling stories to her grandchildren by the dying light of a cooking fire. Their mother sat resting for the first time that day, while the old woman spoke of tigers and monkeys and temples and snakes and lotus flowers. But gradually the story began to change, and suddenly there was a star in it. Just like that star up there in the northwest, said the old woman. Well, then what happened, Grandma? The children prompted her, for she had stopped in mid-story and was gazing at the star till it filled her mind. And all the children hushed and gazed with her. forgetting the story they had been listening to and wanting a new one, full of silver starlight. What was it about that star? There was something different about it that drew all three women from their homelands, and something that said to each of them, "Follow me." They met on a path of starlight, not knowing how long or far they had traveled. They were not hungry or thirsty or tired, so each supposed her journey had been short. They found themselves on a dusty road at midnight, where the sky was a deep, dark blue, and the moon a fingernail of mother of pearl. Each woman looked toward her own bright star that seemed to stand still over a huddle of houses. "The end of our journey," said the grandmother. "Let me carry your baby for a while," said the young woman to the mother, and they all walked together through the hills, past sleeping shepherds, down to the town. The star stayed where it was, growing ever bigger and brighter. It threw down great white spears of starlight onto a small white building with a thatched roof. The young woman started when she saw people coming out of the building and gave the baby back to his mother. They all watched as men in fine robes and their servants mounted on camels and rode away. "Others have followed the star before us," said the mother. Suddenly, all three women were afraid. "We have come so far," said the young woman. "We must go inside." They ducked their heads under the low roof beam and looked in. It was just a stable with horses and donkeys. But it was also a home for a new family, a man and a woman and a newborn child, all bathed in starlight, so that the golden straw was silver. And yet there was gold, a whole heap of it, by the baby's makeshift crib, and other rich presents too. But nothing was as rich or as bright as the glow surrounding the baby. "Come in," said the new mother, and the women entered quietly. Their hearts were full. They too wanted to give presents. They told the baby's mother how they had left their homes drawn by the star with no more than the bundles they carried. They had traveled by star path and moonlight, hardly knowing how they got there. The young woman took the loaf of star bread from her bundle. It was still warm and smelled fresh. She gave it to the baby's mother, and although he was too young to eat it, the baby touched the loaf as if to bless it. The grandmother said, "I have nothing in my bundle to give the child, but I would like to tell him a story." Then the three women sat in the straw with the new family, and the grandmother told a story full of starlight and hope. All this time, the mother from the south held her sleeping baby, and her heart was pounding, for he was all she had to give. although she was filled with a strange new love for the baby in the crib, her own child was as dear to her as life itself. When the story ended, her child awoke. Right away, he saw the baby and held out his arms to him. The two mothers held their sons, and the child gave the baby a kiss full of starlight. The mother sighed and held her baby tight. There had been a present after all. The three wise women left the stable and walked the paths the star had made to lead them home. When they got back to their villages, no one noticed that they had been away, and no one remembered the star. But the star baby in the stable never forgot the women and their three presents. When he grew up, he showed that fresh-baked loaves taste even better when they are shared. He told the most wonderful stories to anyone who would listen. And the man whose birth had been marked by a new star taught the whole world that the greatest gift of all is love. The end. So, did you guess who the star baby is? That's right, it's Jesus. And it's a made-up story, of course. I mean, nobody mentions three wise women in the New Testament, but it's a great story, isn't it? Kind of full of magic, that three women were drawn to the stable and gave the baby presents. I really liked this story. I hope you did too. Jesus was such a special gift to us, wasn't he? And we are so lucky that he loves us so much. Remember, like Pastor Becky says, Jesus is crazy about you, right? See you next week. Bye-bye.